Right, okay, so in this video, we're going to be going through how you can craft and sell irresistible offers. I'm talking offers that any business owner would be an absolute idiot to say no to. These are no-brainer offers. And we're going to give you the entire framework, a formulation blueprint in order to follow and create a brilliant offer for yourself. So I want to start with basically the building blocks behind a really good offer. So this is the fact that it actually solves a real pressing problem, okay? Now, a lot of people will go away and potentially start trying to create an offer for something that isn't even a massive problem for a lot of businesses. And the only way you're going to find out whether it is actually a problem that they're facing is by speaking to people in the niche. Find out what their problems are before you go away and start trying to use this framework. That's just something I've got to get out of the way. Okay. And then another point is that you can actually fix the same problem in two different markets and charge double the amount in a different market simply because the same problem is worth 10 times more. Okay. You might be solving the exact same problem, but because of the product they're selling or the niche that you're in, it can be worth considerably more, and therefore you can charge a lot more. So what I recommend is you find the niche where your problem that you're solving is worth the most to the business owner. Okay. Now, the bigger the problem that you're fixing, okay, the less significant the other factors are, like the pricing and guarantees. Okay. You don't need a guarantee if you're fixing a massive problem that business owners need to fix immediately in order to grow. Okay, you don't need to, because if you fix it for them, they're happy. Okay, and pricing is only a problem when people don't see the value. Okay, if the value is there, then pricing is irrelevant, because if you could spend, if someone offered you £1,000,000 and you had to pay 100,000 for it, it doesn't matter about the price. You would find a way to cough up 100,000 because it would be worth it. The value is there. Okay, so for an example of this is, if you have 6 months to live, you pay almost anything for a life-saving treatment, even if it's experimental. While most offers aren't solving life or death problems, right? The principle remains in terms of if you can focus on addressing a specific, meaningful challenge that's already a pain point for the prospect, okay? It makes it a lot easier to sell your offer, and you don't need to rely on, sales psychology to actually sell them, because you already have an offer that fixes so much for them, and then it's just a point of explaining it and showing them the value. Okay, so I'm going to break down the basic formulation chart behind a great offer, and this is in descending order of importance. So first of all, obviously the most important is that it solves a specific problem. Okay, that it is a big problem within the business that is worth paying to fix. Okay, that's the first basic point. Okay, the theory behind every single business is that they solve a problem. So let's just get that understood. Okay, the next one is going to be a unique mechanism. Now, what this means is that it needs to be something new. It needs to be something that they haven't tried before. Okay, if you come in with the exact same pitch as everyone else who's already tried to sell them something, okay, you are going to fall into this crowd of people that they're not interested in. They're immediately going to swipe you to the side as just another one of those. Okay, so you need to have something new, even if it's the same thing, with a slight tweak, with your own twist, with a slightly different ring to it. Okay, it gets people more interested. People become curious, and curiosity leads to people buying. Okay, so a unique mechanism and an example of that is, instead of going, I help businesses implement AI. Okay, it's something along the lines of, we help businesses scale using our 5-step AI growth protocol, or 5-step AI blueprint. Okay, it's a unique mechanism. It needs to be something new that they haven't heard before, so they're willing to try it out. That's the first thing, because no one wants to buy something that they've potentially already tried or they already know doesn't work. Okay, next one is obviously going to be the pricing and terms. The pricing needs to make sense in terms of, they need to be able to see the value in terms of a return on investment. If you can clearly show a business owner that there's going to be a return on investment, right, they will buy it every single time. So the closer you can get to that point, the better, the easier it is going to be for you to sell. Okay, and then the fourth point is risk reversal, and this is stuff like guarantees. Okay, so this is how you remove that element of risk and you put the risk on yourself. So the more you focus on these potentially top two, the less you have to even worry about the bottom two. Okay, pricing becomes irrelevant, as I mentioned, when the value is big enough. Okay, and you don't need to implement risk reversal. I think risk reversal is something that's good when you start for your first few clients, in terms of give them a guarantee in some form or another, right? Give them some form of guarantee that means, okay, well, if I don't perform on this, then you get your money back. Okay, have something that sort of lowers their guard so you can actually sell to them. But once you've proven that your offer solves a specific problem and it is a unique mechanism and the price makes sense, okay, risk reversal isn't even needed. You can literally, because risk reversal is another form of risk reversal, is having previous clients and case studies. If you can show people, well, this is what we did for Dave, this is what we did for Steve, this is what we did for Greg, okay, then that is enough risk reversal. They know that it works. Then it's just a case of figuring out, is it actually a good fit for them? Okay. So those are the 4 points to understand when you're creating an offer. Okay. So factors like pricing or guarantees, they amplify your offer. They make it more attractive, but a baseline extremely good offer doesn't actually need them to be sold. Okay. You don't need the pricing. It might help, but if you solve a very specific problem and you do it with a unique mechanism that they haven't heard before, then they're not necessarily needed. Okay. So if we talk about step one in terms of solving a specific problem, you cannot guess or generalize problems. Okay. So for example, I do Facebook ads for $3,000. Like it's not an answer. It's not something that's attractive to anyone. Okay. You need to focus on the pain points. Okay. And not necessarily what you're going to do. Focus on what you're going to do for them, not what you're going to do on the back end. Focus on the results they're going to achieve. Okay. So for example, if we look at Hyros, it solves ad distribution issues, achieving 98% accuracy where traditional pixels fail. Okay. If you look at Cole Gordon, he addresses poor conversion rates by providing appointment setters for businesses to convert leads into calls. Okay. These are specific results that people are looking for. So people are looking for increased conversion rates. Okay. And we want to convert leads into calls. That's what our offer is. Okay. You don't want to focus on how you do it. You want to more focus on what they're going to achieve by going with you. Okay. So how do we discover specific problems? As I mentioned at the start, the only way you're going to know if something is actually a problem for your niche is by speaking to them. Okay. Identify the niche, start with a group you're interested in. So for example, SaaS companies, right, in my field. Okay. Simply ask them. And this sounds so stupid, but people don't actually do it. And they start trying to pitch an offer that they don't even know whether it's a good fit. They don't even know whether it has any market fit, whether anyone's actually looking for that answer. They just start pitching it and fingers crossed, right? And that will always fail in the long run. You need to have something that solves a problem for longevity. So what you want to start with is, if you know anyone that knows anyone, and if you don't, then start reaching out to people online and speak to people in your niche and simply find out, is this a problem you're facing? Okay. Is this something, how much would this be worth to you? Is a good point as well. Figure out how much it's worth to them, what would be a reasonable amount for them to pay per month. Also figure out their monthly revenue. How much can companies afford to spend each month? How much are these type of companies that you're targeting left with on average each month? So when you're pitching out to them, you know that your pricing is actually within their budget. Okay. And then figure out the problems that they're facing and then come in with an offer to solve their problem for a pricing that you know they can afford. And that way you've already got a really good basis to a good offer. Okay. So there's a little example there. I'm going to leave this sheet down below so you can check it out if you please, but I'm going to move on to step 2, which is the unique mechanism. So turn your solution into a system that feels distinct and valuable. Okay. So the way you position your service is completely changes the perception of it, right? So you can have the exact same service as someone else, but they might be able to charge 10 times the amount by positioning them as, an advanced package. They're an expert in their field. Okay. Or it's a unique system. It means that you can charge more, it creates more appeal, it creates more curiosity, and overall your offer is going to perform better if it has these sort of characteristics. Okay. So first of all, position your service as the only or best choice in the market. This is why making it a unique mechanism is great, because it removes the idea of competition. Okay. If you're the only one who's claiming to have this unique system, right, there is no competition. There's no one who will have already pitched to your client this same offer, because you're the only one with the 4-step AI growth protocol or whatever it is, right? So like, instead of saying I write emails for coaches and info product owners, which guarantee there's so many people trying to start an agency, outreaching with stuff like this and saying, listen, I'm trying to, do copywriting. I do copywriting for coaches and info products. We help with this. It's like, no, it needs to be something unique. So for example, most info product owners burn leads by constantly pitching. I interview clients like a therapist to mimic their voice, write personality infused emails, and prevent unsubscriptions. So realize how we're talking about a unique system, because we're talking about interviewing clients like a therapist to mimic their voice. Okay. What copywriter has ever said that's how they're going to work? Okay. And that's what they're going to do, right? Personality infused emails. Okay. It's a catchy term. It builds curiosity. Okay. And then again, we're focusing on the result, which is prevents unsubscribes, because no one wants to pay someone to just write emails for them for no reason. They're paying for the result that it brings. Okay. So that's what you need to focus on into your offer. And this shift turns a saturated service into a desirable solution. Okay. Next step is obviously going to be pricing and terms. So be very careful with pricing, because a lot of people charge, they actually devalue themselves. And then a lot of people or obviously charging way too much, right? But we'll get into that. So obviously pricing communicates the value of your offer, okay? It is what, first of all, pays for the business to run. So you've got to remember, and to an extent be selfish in the fact that you need to make a pricing that also makes sense for you. Okay, obviously make it appealing to the client, but you've got to remember you're running a business as well. Okay, and it's got to be at a sufficient price that it makes sense for you to sell it. Okay, so what we can look at is there's two different types of offers. So first of all, you've got performative offer, which is obviously based on the performance. So ad agencies, right, promise an ROI. They might say, we guarantee you a 2x ROI, right? So you're focusing on the performance and that's your offer. It doesn't matter how you do it. They don't care. You're selling the performance. Okay, that's what you're selling. Then you've got the productized services, which focuses on, a clear sort of set of deliverables, and it doesn't matter about the results, okay? Because the person paying for it is trusting they're paying for the system, they're paying for the services, and they're not necessarily they're hopeful for the results, but that's not what they're paying for. They're paying for the ambition of the results. So for example, you might pay an editor 60 short form videos per month. It doesn't matter how well those videos do. You're paying them to do the editing for you. You're saving time, and the videos are still going out and they could blow up. So you're paying for that, right? Now, the pricing mistakes to avoid, as I first mentioned, is first of all undercharging. If you charge too little, and first of all figure out what you look like, where you stand in your market in terms of pricing as well. Figure out what other people are charging for similar things, and then figure out where you want to place yourself. Okay, do you want to be that sort of slightly cheaper alternative to your competitors that's maybe more appealing to local businesses? Or are you targeting experts in their field and yours is actually going to be slightly more expensive than everyone else who has pitched to them, but that's because you're going to do 10 times more by doing XYZ, right? So the problem with undercharging, first of all, it leads to burnout because you can't scale a business if they're not paying you enough, right? It makes it impossible. Okay, you're left with thin profit margins, and it ultimately makes it hard for you to grow the business, which first of all also negatively affects your clients. Okay, if you can't grow the business and sustain the business, your clients don't care. Like, it doesn't matter that you save them an extra $1,000 a month, right? They're now not receiving a service because you've failed to run a business. Okay, so be careful of that. And then again, is misaligned offers, is combining like a low ticket pricing with high effort deliverables, right? So if you pitch to someone and say, I'm going to do this. We're going to do all of this. It's going to have this massive impact, and then offer them a low price. I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense. Okay, they will look at you like that makes no sense. Why would you not charge more for that? Okay, and as much as you think like, oh, I'm just going to undercut everyone else, like that'll make my offer great. It doesn't work like that. The problem is, in order for someone to buy, like people have to make sense of something to buy it, right? It has to make sense in their mind. If it doesn't make sense, they're not going to buy it. Okay, so you need to have like alignment between the amount of effort that's going to be going into your service delivery and the price that you're charging. Otherwise, it's going to be confusing to the client. If you've told them you're going to do all of this and they're only paying you, £100 a month, they're going to go like, why is this guy doing all, like, is he actually doing all of that in the background, or have I just been scammed? Okay, like it has to make sense. So keep that in mind as well. So look at this, right? Let's say you were offering a performance offer, right? A performative offer. So to ensure a 5x ROI for the client, for example, if you're charging obviously $5,000 for it, they should generate at least $25,000 in client profit. Okay, that's obviously just the given. That's the math behind it. But then, so you've got to figure that out in terms of how much are you going to make them before you charge them. Because I would always say, figure out a way to make them more than you're going to charge them, and then they will always buy it as long as you can pitch it correctly. Okay, so don't start offering them a 5x ROI, right, on their ads, but you're charging them 10,000 and they only put £500 a month into ads that isn't going to generate that 5x return, if that makes sense. So be careful in terms of them going away, doing the maths and going, yeah, you're going to get us a 5x return on investment on the ads, but what we've actually spent, we're only just about breaking even. So be careful of that as well. But then when we're looking at productized services, factor in the perception. So as I mentioned, what do competitors charge? And then does your unique mechanism justify higher pricing? If you frame it correctly, then potentially it's actually smarter for you to charge more, because they will look at you as this new concept, this premium concept that is worth a higher price. Okay. All right. So that's sort of about the pricing. And one thing I just want to touch on as well, I think the best way, and this is from my personal experience in terms of when you're crafting an offer, as I mentioned, find the market where it's the most valuable. But let's say you're dealing with someone who sells something very high ticket. Let's say you're dealing with a fitness coach who sells, 5 to 10K fitness coaching programs. Okay. If there's a way that you can sell them something for 10K up front, and you can guarantee. So if you can sell them a set of systems, okay, for 10K up front, and it costs 10K setup fee, but then they don't pay a monthly retainer, okay, you can literally pitch it to them as, so this is going to cost 10K now, but you're going to have it forever. Do you think over the next 3 years, this system is going to bring in more than, 2 clients? Okay. And if you've actually got a good system and a good offer and have the service delivery on the back end, then realistically, they're not going to, they'd be stupid. It's very hard for them to go, no, I don't think that your entire system is going to at least bring me 2 clients over the next 5 years. Okay. So if you can craft an offer like that, where it's like, okay, so what's the value of 1 client to you? And you can guarantee that, well, you don't have to guarantee it. You just have to ask them, like, do you think it's reasonable that if you implemented this, you might close potentially maybe, let's just say 3 clients over the next 5 years? And they're going to go, yeah, I think that sounds reasonable. It's like, okay, great. So what's holding you back? Because then price is removed out of the way, because you've shown the value. You've shown that buying what you have to offer is worth more to them. Okay. It's worth more than they're going to pay you. They might pay you 5K, but it's worth them, 50K over the next 5 years. Okay. So if you can explain that, it makes it very easy to remove price as an objection. Then you can actually focus on what they're actually hesitant about and just target that. Okay. Anyway, moving on to step 4 is risk reversal. Okay. As mentioned before, risk reversal amplifies an already strong offer, but isn't essential if you address a pressing problem with a unique mechanism. So an example of risk reversal is, obviously, you don't pay until it works. You pay as it works. Okay. If it doesn't work, you don't pay. If it doesn't work, we'll continue working with you until it does. In basically every successful offer, and probably a lot of ads that you see, and I recommend you sort of keep an eye out, and you'll see a lot of these concepts within offers that are pitched to you, and you'll realize the mechanisms that they're using. Okay. So it will normally be one of these 4. Okay. And by choosing the right risk reversal for you, it can work, a lot better. So early stage businesses is options like pay as it works are safe. Okay. And you need cash flow. So when you're starting a business, you need to get money in the door. Okay. And you also need clients, but they've got no reason to trust you. So you can offer to do something for free. And when it makes them money, you get paid. Okay. That's no risk to them, but it builds your credibility. Obviously, you get money in the door, and you now have a testimonial to take on to the next client, so that you don't have to continue doing that. Okay. If we're looking at established businesses, offers like you don't pay until it works build strong trust, but they require financial reserves, right? Because when you're an established business and you're consistently saying, we're going to work for you, but you don't have to pay until it works, you're risking your business. Okay. It's not something that you should be doing. Okay. Once your business is established, realistically, you should be focusing on, if it doesn't work, you don't pay, because you want to build a proven system, build a proven offer. And then once you know it works, you can guarantee something like this. And it's one of the best risk reversals there is, because there is literally zero risk on them. It's like, okay, you're going to get results for what you pay for. So it's literally just a fair transaction. It's like, you're going to pay me this, you're going to get this. You don't have to try and convince them of it, because you know it works. Okay. So I'd say for established businesses, if it doesn't work, you don't pay, is probably the best. It's another form of like money back guarantee. But yeah, and then just the key to longevity, and this is just a final little point, is that the most successful offers solve a specific problem. They use a unique mechanism, and they balance pricing terms in terms of like who they're pitching to, what they can afford, what's reasonable, what your competitors are pricing. Okay. And you're pairing that with strategic risk reversal that makes sense. Okay. Don't get yourself trapped by using the wrong risk reversal over and over again, because suddenly you're going to realize you're working for a bunch of people. And if they don't get results, you don't get paid. And you could end up wasting a bunch of time that you could have done simply just creating a better offer that actually works. Okay. So if you combine all of these elements, they're going to strengthen each other, creating a compelling, irresistible package that is literally a no-brainer to anyone you're pitching it to. So I will leave this document down below for you guys to have a look. I also have another sheet which sort of shows you a slightly more, it's like a worksheet for creating the offer, but it uses a lot of the similar concepts that I've talked about today. So if you guys found this at all valuable, please like and subscribe, comment down below anything you want to see going forward. And yeah, other than that, I hope you guys can now create a great offer that is easy to sell, and you're not going to have to hop on sales calls in fear. So yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one.